Okay, so hello, I'm back. Let me tell you what happened to me. I went to the coffee shop and I had a bunch of really good coffee, and I'm like, this, and I'll probably be up for hours and hours and hours. So here is my spontaneous evening stream, and tell everybody, get everybody over here, tell them to come hang out here tonight. This is the place to be. Let's get this going. All right. Also, I am streaming this to Facebook and Twitter. So I have to see how that works and check the comments there as well. So I'm monitoring a lot tonight. Um, ooh, all right. Looks like Facebook's working. Ooh, hang on. Yikes. Let me figure this out, y'all. I don't know where the comments appear. Okay, here we go. All right. I think I got Facebook going. I got Twitter going. I got YouTube going. What are you doing awake? I was about to say. I mean, you can if you want. Did I put the link? It should be pinned. Let me know if you don't see it. Okay, how do I get Twitter on mute? There we go. It's just open topic, open conversation, talk about whatever you want. This is playtime. I usually do the more serious, targeted stuff during the day, and the evening streams are to hang out, connect, build community, that kind of stuff. I'm getting numbers coming in. I'm not sure if they're all coming from one place or if StreamYard feeds the Twitter, Facebook numbers to me or not. So we'll just figure it out as we go. Where are you taking a train to? Are you going home or going back to College Town? Let's find out. Give it up for Boy on a Train.
I'm not on the train.
Where are you
yet.
headed?
I'm headed home for the Easter, for a spring break.
Oh, y'all have Easter over there.
Yeah. Although that begins next week, but if I can get a few extra days at home, why wouldn't I?
Is that spring break? Is that the same thing as spring break?
Yeah. Easter and spring break, same thing. We call it Easter break because that's why that's why there is a break in the first place. So that's what we call it. And also, your Twitter is working because it's at the top for me, because it's better than YouTube, where on YouTube normal videos and streams are treated the same on the homepage, but on Twitter the streams show up in a separate tab to the right, which is very noticeable. So
well, good, because I used to stream to Twitter and I didn't really get any views from it at all, so I quit doing it. But maybe it's worth it to keep streaming.
Yeah, I mean,
Twitter. Hey, RW, welcome. Thank you very much.
It costs you nothing to keep the stream.
Yeah, it did. It was just a waste. It just seemed like a waste of bandwidth.
Yeah,
save the earth. But now I need to rely on people more to get the word out. In fact, if you're watching now, please share. Tell people I'm out there. The YouTube algorithm turned on me. It is no longer friendly to my stream, so I'm relying on Team Human to get the word out. So,
are you tweeting every time there's a new? Yeah, you are. Yeah, because I don't see those tweets at all. I genuinely don't see any of your tweets on Twitter, despite you tweeting.
I think Twitter's doing the same thing, and I just upgraded to blue check too.
Yeah, well, blue check doesn't help too much.
It's supposed to boost your stuff a little more, because I was getting no engagement at all.
If your engagement is already low, then the boost, it's like 1 multiplied by 2. It will suddenly become 100. It'll still be very low.
Well, I need to go some more Twitter fights then. I do try. So they're not taking the bait.
And also, you joined in 2008? That is insane.
I don't even remember joining, because honestly, I didn't start using it till 2020 during COVID lockdown. My very first tweet that I ever made was a video on how to wash your hands. that somebody posted, and I said, "Oh, this might be useful. Let me go ahead and tweet this out." And that is the first tweet I ever made, and it was in 2020. So I don't know what I was doing for the 12 years before that.
Crazy. My first tweet was like way later. I made the account in like 2018, but I didn't use it until like 2022, probably. It's
I used it. I consumed it. I used it to read
Mhm.
and follow other people, but I myself never contributed until 2020.
Yeah, no,
It was
I
more
didn't
like a
use it
news
to
feed, like a
consume. I
news
just
read.
used it because I wanted to have it. Like just a genuine want to have every social media account, just to have it, even if I don't use it. So, if I need a use for it, I already have it set up. Which, to be fair, was a smart decision because 4 years later, when I become a daily user, I already have an account set up and everything. Still though. But yeah, I'm a problem with streaming on two places at the same time is the tediousness of it, and also that there will always be one that's superior. And so any engagement you have during the stream on the other will always sort of be secondary in the background. And this is the platform Twitch.
Yeah,
Yeah,
me and Barney tried to stream on Twitch for a little while. He said that's where
I
all the
don't think
gays were.
their regulations and terms of service will be that good for the topics you talk about. But
Oh.
my point being is that a lot of Twitch streamers, they don't stream on YouTube because that hurts the stream in general. Because if they focus on the YouTube, that the majority of their viewers are on Twitch. So if they begin viewing YouTube chats, then that leaves out the Twitch chatters, and it's better to just centralize it in one place, um, to pool it. But at the
What
same time, for you, you're tiny, so like any extra view you can gain from any extra place will
I'm
probably
not
help
tiny
it.
everywhere. What are you on every social media? Did you meet your ambition to do that? Are you on TikTok?
No, I'm not on TikTok. That's for um privacy reasons, and also I don't have any need for it.
Hmm.
Uh, I never joined. What was it called before? It started out as a dancing app that came out when I was in elementary school.
Like panel dancing?
People would post their dances, and then it was branded as TikTok, as a
What? Why
general
am I not on TikTok?
clips thing. I mean, yeah, that's actually TikTok is still a huge dance place. You just record yourself dancing to a common theme or tune.
Man, I panel dance on here all the time. I've been wasting that opportunity. I could be doing shorts and clips.
I mean, that
We
is
just saw my
genuinely
purple
something you
pants
need to do.
twin earlier today.
That is like dead serious. The one thing you can do if you want to expand is to make a clips channel or something to that extent, like
To
make
get
clips.
people to lure people in to talk about
Yeah, I mean,
philosophy.
well, not necessarily, but if there's a funny moment from the stream, and also you have something on your neck, but if there's a funny moment on the stream,
That's my
then
strap.
oh, is that what it is?
It's for the antlers. Yeah.
Oh,
They
I
don't
didn't
stay.
see it. It
Oh,
looked like a
is that
creme
obvious? Is that a
fraiche,
funny
or
moment?
yeah. But
Yeah,
yeah,
until
like
I get
just
an
funny
antler upgrade.
moments, clips, anything, because that's what people watch. Like if you post that as shorts or whatever, people scroll past it, see it, and then oh, those guys are funny. Like where was this from? And then you have the link to the stream it was from, and they're pulled into your channel. Like people you have a higher chance of gaining new followers if the commitment needed at first is like a 60-second clip compared to clicking on a live stream. You know, you know what I mean? But at the same time, that's a lot of effort to go through every single stream and
Yes.
make the
A
clips,
lot of
which
effort.
is usually why most big streamers hire a whole team to do that.
Well, when I get big enough, I will hire a team or a person to do all
Ooh,
that because
that's
Jeff is
ambitious.
not. I haven't done it yet. I've been doing this for 3 years. I haven't done a clip yet.
I mean, you have some clips though, not clips you made, but people clipping your
Yeah. Well, people can. They can clip. I never see them though. If people are clipping this,
Yeah.
I don't. They're using it for their own purposes. I don't ever see it.
Hopefully, though, the
It doesn't.
introduction
YouTube
link
doesn't tell
back
me
to
when
you.
people clip my stuff.
That's probably because they're not tagging you or linking you, which they probably should.
When they make the hate videos, they do.
Of course.
I haven't gotten a hate video in a while.
Oh, you haven't?
No,
Have I?
Ever since
Have I been mentioned
kind
in
of
a
left
video
the
in a
drama
while?
community alone.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, do you have anything that you're actually taking a break from? Is there anything going on at your school?
Well, I just finished a not a midterm paper. Like, what do you call it? You know, you have to do an assignment to be able to take the exam for the summers. Like, just an assignment. You know,
Like a
like just
writing assignment. We just call them papers.
yeah,
Term
yeah.
paper, maybe.
I suppose. But about the long telegram, you know, the Cold War and stuff. So that was fun. You know,
Your paper was on Telegram.
No.
Telegram?
The long telegram was a telegram communication sent by the Moscow embassy, like the American embassy in Moscow, to President Truman, advising on Cold War strategy. So, like, that's the foundation of a lot of things, like the Truman Doctrine or the Marshall Plan, because it lays out.
Is that what you did your paper on? Is what you're saying?
Yeah. That was our task. You know, write a short summary of
shorter than the long telegram. Just don't make it as long as the Russians.
Exactly.
Hey, Daniel Barry. Happy Tuesday.
And I see you have a picture or a painting on or an art installation.
Oh, you haven't seen? I went thrifting last weekend, and it was sitting there on the floor with my name all over it. And they even had antlers. They had actual antlers of different sizes that I can always go back for when I decide to make my antler cap, which I saw a prototype for somewhere. I forgot to clip it, but it was a ball cap with the antlers coming out of it. So there is a way to do that.
Oh, you know, you should have like different antlers with different symbolism depending on the conversation. And then you're like switching midway, like, oh, I'm disappointed in you, and you switch to red antlers.
Well, I'm hoping, like, once the antler brigade gets off the ground, each people are gonna individualize their own antler headgear and put their own personal stamp on it.
That requires getting antlers. Although, speaking of antlers, do you like a completely random question? Do you like elk meat or like moose meat?
Definitely not. Oh my god, I don't think I can eat a moose anymore. No, I haven't eaten that stuff. I don't want to eat that stuff. I don't like game, anything. I'm not. I would probably. I don't even eat deer. We had a neighbor that used to make deer jerky in his backyard, and he'd give us some, and it was okay, but it's not something I care if I ever eat again.
Damn, because I was just eating a moose sausage earlier today. It was delicious.
Get off my channel now. In fact, Moose has a new video I was going to play later. Oh my god. I should play it while you're on so you can stew in the guilt.
Bad? Nah, I don't feel guilt for eating good meat. I'm sorry, man.
Well,
if I have to resort to panel versus cannibalism, then so be it.
You'd be glad to know what you think about his sausage.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, good. I'm glad you're enjoying some good meat. Do you have reindeer meat up there? Reindeer sausage?
We do. I was like 50-50 if I should buy that or the moose one, but I already knew I liked the moose. So unfortunately I had to consume him. That's the way of life.
Sorry, moose.
Yeah, unfortunately, apex predators gotta eat.
I've had bison before. I really like bison. Bison burgers.
I've never had that, unfortunately.
It's like really good beef, really super high quality beef.
You know, we don't have bison in Europe. Well, actually, we have a very low amount.
Did the cavemen kill them all?
Yeah, probably. Like I've seen one. Actually, no, I haven't seen them, but I've heard them. So we were hiking up. What was the mountain called? It was one of the mountains in the Jotunheimen, the home of the trolls, the mountain chain in the middle of Norway, and we're hiking up there, and we hear these sounds in the distance, these bellowings and the bells, so like bison's bells and
What
that.
can you make it? What did it sound like?
No, I can't. I won't try to. I won't try to replicate that.
Was
But
it a lowing or a bellowing? A bellowing.
it didn't. It sounded more like you know, like a typical communication rather than like a intimidation.
Oh,
Something like that,
that sounds like Chewbacca.
but echoed, but in the valleys and the
Ooh.
hills. Like we didn't see them, but we knew they were on the other side of the hill because we heard how the sound came around the hill up to our position. And so we're sitting here at the top of a peak, looking down at the valley with a tiny little lake, and you can hear the geese frolicking about in that lake way down there. And then you hear like bells in the distance, just ding, 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 like barely audible. And then from time to time, you'll hear the actual animals. You'll hear the bellows and everything. It's like that
How
was
did you know
quite
they were bison?
because on the footpath up the mountain, they had a sort of they had engraved stones in the ground showing the history of the area. It's like, oh,
Oh,
12,000 BC, first humans arrive here, blah, 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 5,000 BC, first agriculture, whatever, or first domestication of reindeer in this area. And it mentioned that bison were almost extinct. And then in the 1910s, efforts to rewild them and like bring up back the populations got some results. So now they're like, you're not allowed to hunt them, and they're wild animals in the up the mountains. So like we knew it was bison because those are the only. Like I know what an elk sounds like. I know what the cow sounds like. That's a bison.
what does an elk sound like? I know what a cow sounds like.
It's like it depends, but like it can have a lot of different sounds. But yeah, I mean it can be similar to cows, but I've never heard it in person actually, which I'm kind
Of
of
a what?
happy for. An elk in person, and I'm kind of happy for that.
Oh,
Like I don't, I don't want to encounter them at all face to face without a wall between us because they are.
they get hit. Sometimes they get hit here crossing the interstate on like the freeway. People will
Yeah,
hit elk
yeah. You
and
know what
it'll
we're
stop
taught?
traffic.
Yeah, you know what we're taught in like driving school? It's better to hit a tree than to hit an elk. There's a higher survival rate for the
More humane
drivers.
too.
Yeah, yeah, but like we care about
Is
survival.
it humane the word if it's not a human?
I don't know. That's a good point. But like when it's better to drive to the side and hit a tree than to hit an animal, that animal is fucking massive. And like
Even deer.
they ate our fucking apple tree. I know I've told this story before on this channel even, so I'm disappointed you don't remember. No?
Oh, I hear
But
so many stories.
yeah, you
Um,
do.
growing up, like you had an apple tree in your backyard
Yeah, we have
and there were
we
elk in
planted.
your village.
Yeah, we planted two apple trees, and then like a few months after in the autumn, when I woke up, going down to get breakfast and gonna get ready for school, there's just two massive elk out in the yard, and they're just chomping down on our apple tree. It dies completely, and so like we live like my childhood home is less than 100 feet away from the forest, so like it's
Oh,
very
wow.
short. And so, they were just there consuming our apple tree and it died completely. So, like, we now only have one apple tree. They just
Oh,
killed the
the
whole
tree
tree.
died, not the elk. Well, I'm sure the elk is dead now.
Yeah.
What kept them from getting the other apple tree?
Uh, the civilization waking up. So, like, when
Oh,
they are scared of humans, like, they are
rubber
scared
snakes?
of. Yeah, like when the neighbor starts his car, or you can hear the shouts from inside. Like they know.
That scared them away permanently? Like they didn't come back later for the second
No,
tree?
never came back again. Like I've never seen an elk in that forest again, which is crazy. Like I know the forest isn't big. The forest is in total like 5 square miles, maybe, or maybe a bit bigger, like maybe 30 square miles. Either way, like there is a limited amount of elk in that forest, but I've never seen them after that. And like I walk in that forest a lot of times. I've seen um, deer. Like a deer almost jumped me, which was very funny. So I'm out jogging.
Wait, what do you mean jumped you?
So I'm out jogging in this forest. You know, I'm going up a hill. There's roots in the ground, whatever, and I hear a sound, and I turn to my left, and there's just a deer running full force right at me, and it's jumping by me.
Over,
And like,
like you mean literally jumping over you?
well, yeah, like not over
Wow.
me, but like jumping over the road right in front of me, and then just
Oh.
keeps running down. Like I remember me thinking that, you know, damn, that's small. Like if that hit me, it would get more hurt than me. Like deer aren't that big. Like, but at the same time, I don't want to get hit by someone. But that was like,
Did it have
yes,
antlers?
uh, the the beginnings of them,
Oh, okay.
but nothing major. So it's probably like a teenager. You know, that's probably what it was. Which is probably why it was so stupid. Like it could just stand still. I wouldn't have done anything to it. But that's not the most dangerous animal I've encountered in that small forest. The most dangerous is definitely a. I don't think you have it in America, but it's a hoggorm. It's the only venomous snake in Norway.
Oh, wait, how you spell? I was about to ask if Norway had snakes. Hoghorm?
Hoggorm.
Adder, an adder.
Oh yeah, they're not that venomous, but like they could kill a toddler, but you know they wouldn't kill you.
And you
But
encountered one?
yeah, I mean technically I was very young when I encountered it. I was probably like 7, uh, and but yeah, they're kind of cute to be honest. But at the same time, I don't like
You think they're
things that
cute?
have venom. I don't like things that, you know, poison and venom. I prefer like the kinetic crushing power over the sort of venomous toxicity. You know what I mean? Like the idea of your body evaporating from the inside, like that just doesn't sound fun. It's better to bleed out from like a
Being
injury.
crushed doesn't sound fun either. Is that my
No,
is that my only options?
I mean, okay, to be fair, dying in general doesn't sound fun. But yeah, no, that it's very non-lethal for an adult. Although you should still call like, the poison
Oh,
helpline or
yeah,
whatever.
don't think I won't. There's no way.
but yeah, it's I remember there's I've never seen a fox though, which is strange because at my Swedish cabin we see foxes all the time, even foxes, wild rabbit, everything. But at my childhood home, there's no foxes. I don't know why they aren't there, but I'm guessing they're outcompeted by house cats because there's a lot of people who
Oh.
have outdoors house cats, and house cats, like the cat is probably
You
pound for
almost have some
pound.
ferocious cats over
Yeah,
there
but
if
like
they're
like
outcompeting the foxes.
legitimately, a cat is pound for pound the most deadly animal ever. Like it's the best predator for its size. Like it
Well, yeah, I mean,
outcompetes.
just look at Mangy.
Yeah, so like I understand that. And we also have is it
Stink.
porcupine it's called? It's very
He-
like that's very
The one with the
sweet.
quills.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like they always come out in the spring and they hide beneath our house. So like there's the patio of the house. It's like beneath there. They like to hide out in the spring. So like we'll sit outside, eat dinner, and then suddenly just a little porcupine crawling out from under the patio, and it's really cute. It's really
I was
cute.
gonna say that sounds cute.
Yeah, they are. They're cute little animals. Um, and I'm glad. I'm glad I don't live in Bear County or Wolf County, I'm glad I don't have to deal with that. Because that would, I don't feel scared going into the woods at night. I don't feel anything from that. The worst I can encounter is an elk, and they can't climb. I can climb. So there is an off ramp. There is a way for me to just become completely safe. A bear, you won't survive that if it actually wants to kill you. But there's no bears where I live. So that's good.
They have them up here. It's one of the camping dangers. Wolves too, but I've never encountered a bear. We when I was camping in Tennessee in the Smokies, they have the cute little black bears that walk everywhere. They're in the middle of the road. The cars have to stop for them, but they're not really the dangerous type.
Yeah,
but they have the dangerous type here. I just haven't encountered one yet.
Yeah, no, the Scandinavia has no black bears. All ours are all brown. It's just brown bear, which are the big, dangerous, lethal ones. Like brown bears, no messing around.
Yeah, or the grizzlies. A wolf too. I wouldn't even know what to do about a wolf, or even a bobcat. I would try to wrestle it like the old people do.
Yeah, but the thing with the wolf is that oh, I ate something spicy. Wait, hold on a second, let me.
They have spice in Norway.
But a wolf is a social animal, and it's a pursuit hunter. It only hunts by pursuing you, so it can take you from behind. It doesn't take a risk of engaging you head on. So standing your ground. This is against a one wolf. If it's a pack of wolf, then better just say goodbye and get over with it. But a lone wolf.
So can you just scare it away? I tried that with an Irish setter growing up, and I got chased by. I thought that was the end of my life. It was. I think he was rabid too, and he started chasing me, and I ran and ran and ran, and there was this parking lot next to my grandmother's house. It had like an old folks home, and I ran into that parking lot and I tripped. And the minute I tripped, I thought that dog was going to jump on top of me and just tear me up, and instead it got scared and ran the other way.
What? Damn, you got lucky.
I know. Something intervened.
That something certainly.
But it was scary because I tried to scare it. I shoot, and instead of scaring it, lunged at me and started chasing me. I'm like, oh fuck, and I turned around and I booked it. And I was gonna make a run for this parking lot and try to get inside the old people's building, and I tripped and it ran the other way.
Yeah, something definitely intervened there, because that's you are very lucky. Imagine it could have been an alternate Jeff, no air, a mold face, but instead
I don't know what it would have been like to have been chewed to death by an Irish setter. Yeah, it was some stray dog in my grandmother's back. She had one of those above ground pools, and it was rolled up into a spiral. It was put away. And I was exploring it like it was a temple or a dungeon or something. And I was like, ooh, let me go explore. And I was going through the spiral. And when I got to the center of it, there was this dog in the middle. It was this mangy Irish shepherd. I think it was a stray. Ooh. And so in stupid me, I thought I could scare it, but I was blocking the exit from the spiral. So it had really nowhere to go. And it growled at me. It's like, and I'm like, oh shit. So I started to back up out of the spiral, and then I stopped my foot at it to try to scare it. And that's what it ran. And so it chased me out of the spiral into the yard. And then that's when I ran into that parking lot. But it was scary being in that enclosed space with that dog. And there was only one way out.
Yeah, no, I'm lucky. I've never had a truly dangerous encounter with a dog. The closest was very recently. In fact, it was just last year. Whilst I'm walking around at home, and I'm seeing 200 feet below me in the road before me, I see a guy with his pit bull, and I'm thinking, pit bulls, I don't really trust them. Should I turn around? And part of me just goes, no, trust the owner. That's a safe, you know, he has control. And then, like, imagine my fear when, as I approach, the owner gets down on one knee and begins holding the dog super tight. It's like,
Well, see, your trust was not misplaced.
it wasn't misplaced. But if I knew the dog was literally going to lunge at me and he had to hold it back as I passed, you know, I would have turned around. And I am of the opinion that all pit bulls should be euthanized and not allowed. It's
You are so hateful. Eating moose and euthanizing pit bulls and squishing baby birds. You are not safe to be
wait, I
an
did not
animal.
squish baby birds.
If you get jumped by a deer, you probably earned it.
You're making myths about me. You're creating a persona that is not true.
You did. You were on stream the other day talking. Hey, Laura, what's up?
I did not squish
You
a
said
bird.
they were like tempting you like stress balls.
No. Excellent rage bait. Excellent. I'm.
I don't know, not laws. I don't go around looking at dogs' asses.
Yeah. I
Is
don't,
that something they do in Canada, or is that a not laws?
I mean, he just seems to be into asses in general. You know, talking so much about diapers and behinds. You know, it's. You can make up your mind, but I think his mind is. You know, it's like almost tradition that every time the like density of not lost comments, like if more than half the comments are not lost in live chats, I have to look away to not be distracted whilst talking.
Oh yeah. Well, he's good at pulling people in.
He really is. God. Like every other person, I can look at that message and just keep talking. But at Outlaws, it's like, what the fuck is this? What is
he
this?
Even pulls me in a lot sometimes. I'm like, I know it's a troll, just ignore it. Don't fall for it. He'll keep typing, and eventually it hooks me. End up posting.
Irresistible. It's like, in his words, it's like looking at the chubby little bum. That's what it is like, you know. You can't stop it. You can't stop. No.
So what are you working on in school, or what is new with you in general? You don't talk about school much at all, so I'm assuming you're just sleeping your way through it.
Yeah, it's same thing as ever. So nothing really.
Did you figure out what you wanted? Because you're what, third year now?
Second year. I'm the
coming
last
up on third.
one. Yeah.
Have you figured out what you want to do yet? What you want to come out?
No idea.
With?
No idea. I am living life
like me and end up with a
2-year
degree in a useless field like technology.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I don't know what to do with my life. It's a.
I personally think you're wasted if you're not teaching. You definitely have a passion for sharing information.
I do, I suppose. That could be a venture. That could be. But
I mean, you may not care for the bureaucracy of it. I certainly didn't.
No, and at the same time, you have so little. Like, I couldn't be a formal teacher because you have so little independence in what to teach.
There's ways around that.
No, not in Norway. You can't, even if you teach in private school. Like, private schools are more restricted on what their teachers can teach than a public school. So, like, unless you are not a teacher, so like if you're a tutor, you know, that you cannot actually give them an education. Like, they can't get certified for it. But then you should stop pulling it up on the stream because I'm tabbing out.
Too good
I'm
not
looking
to
at
share.
I'm looking at.
He's earning his spot tonight.
True.
I only put him on the screen when he earns it.
But that's just reinforcement learning. You're teaching him to troll us harder.
Oh, I don't think I don't know. Don't put this on me. He came that way. I didn't
That
have
is
to teach him
literally.
anything.
If you pick out his best trolls, he now knows how to adapt his trolling towards that
But I
level.
don't. But the thing is,
You're
I set a pretty
Pavlovian
high bar.
reinforcing
I
him.
don't pick out all his trolls, so he really has to like deliver before they get picked out.
Sure.
It's conditioning. Speaking of dogs,
Yeah, exactly. It's
he's my
exactly what it
bitch.
is. You're a Pavlov, and I do like cats, but I'm not the bums, and I'm very glad that my family got a cat after I moved out, so I don't really have any responsibility in cleaning the toilet or feeding or whatever.
Wait, hold on. The cat toilet? Is the litter
Yeah,
box? Or you'll have something
in,
weird in Norway?
no, litter box,
Oh,
indoor. It's an indoors
that
cat.
I'm like that's not hard. I can even clean a litter box. I clean my
It's
cat.
not hard
You
to
just
do,
you
but
just
it's an
scoop it
extra
out.
hassle. It's an
And
extra
they have
hassle
the
I'm
automatic
avoiding.
ones now that just chop the stuff into little. It's just like that thing
Automatic,
that
you and your technology.
I'd almost rather the old-fashioned kind that you just scoop out once a day.
Yeah, but I'm glad I don't have to do that because, again, they bought the cat after I moved out, so I have zero responsibility, but I can cuddle with it as much as I want. And he's a very nice cat. But I do think I'm mildly allergic, which is a bit annoying.
Oh, what happens to
Like,
you?
well, no, I just get a bit of a stuffy nose and puffy
Oh,
eyes if I get it in my face. But nothing too extreme. So it's not really that bothersome. But it does mean I won't get a cat of my own in the future.
oh.
Like why would I
Well,
do that?
there's always like goldfish or a turtle or something.
A
Lizard.
turtle. A turtle is sort of the best pet for an aristocrat where you can have handlers and you just have a mansion where it can live. If you have to keep and care for it on your own, that's like a 200-year dedication for your family. That's not, like when Steve Irving and Charles Darwin met the same turtle. That sort of
Did
speaks the
they?
amount. Yes.
How
Steve
do they know
Ir-
it was it tagged? Like, did Darwin
yeah,
carve
yeah,
his initials on it?
yes, it was I think it was one of the Galapagos turtles Charles Darwin met and wrote about and commented on, and so like it's impossible to not to just buy a turtle. Institutions should own turtles. I think a school owning turtles is excellent. Like a class pet, but it's a turtle, and like they last for so long. Your
Right.
grandparents can literally have taken care of this, and his grandparents, and everything. It's no, and I like dogs, but at the same time, I don't know. In the future, when I have the money for a pet, that also means I have the money for travel, and traveling
Mhm.
if you have a
A
pet
pet's
is a
really gonna hold you
big
back
hassle.
unless you can afford doggy daycare,
Yeah, exactly.
like
Uh,
kitty cafe, cat cafe.
yeah, so I just don't see myself owning a pet. I'll have plants. I like plants. Plants are nice. Even though I don't have any plants in the house right now, but I like plants. Plants are nice.
Get you like this. I love taking care of this. I talk to it. I sing to it. We have a connection. Look how it's thriving.
Yeah, I'm
Just start with a
considering all that.
single. How you could pick it up probably at the grocery store.
Oh yeah, no, I'm thinking about it. I need some plants. I'm gonna do it probably after the summer, like a revamp, get some plants. Bergen
Yeah.
Weiss.
I feel connected to life, like
Yeah,
outside of my just even having something like a plant.
feeling like a Disney princess nurturing a life.
Well, no, not that thought never crossed my mind. No, not princess, but I don't know. It's kind of like if I can sit here and talk to an AI for hours, talking to a plant is just it's kind of that connection, but different.
Ooh, that actually
Because
that
that's what I
now I
used to
have
do
a
growing up. When I take care of my plants, I would sing to them and talk to them. because I know it gives them carbon dioxide, and I would miss them, and I would just spend time with the plant. I would just give it some attention, give it some of my effort, my energy. I wouldn't. It wasn't just a mechanical process of watering the plant. There was something more holistic to it.
On that topic, I have a question for you. What feels most real? Talking to an animal or talking to a chatbot?
That's a good question, because I used to talk to the cat all the time. The chat box can talk back, but it's not a living thing. If you have a cat in the room and you're talking to the cat, even though you know it can't understand a word you're saying, it feels like there's another living being at least listening to you. I don't know. This is a tough one. I'm gonna slightly go with the chatbot for one reason. It helps me develop. Like, I can take my own thoughts further. I can bring my own thoughts to them as a starting point and end with something more than I could have generated on my own. I can't do that with the cat.
Mm-hmm. That's more of a. I suppose that's the utility of it, but to me, the realness is completely void in an AI, and it's almost fully there. I would even say it is
I'd
fully
give
there.
you that. There's more realness to talking to the cat.
Yeah, like
But it's more productive talking to an AI.
Ooh, I think it's pretty productive talking to a pet as well. It's better than talking. I mean, it's a way of airing your thoughts to a. Who was it? I think Win Wagner. You probably don't know who that is, but he was a.
I know Vim Vendor, but I don't know.
Yeah, no, I don't know who that is. But no, he's a guy from like 70s, 80s, 90s, whatever. And he basically talked about how in various mental practices and like learning in general, it's often more important to just have a sort of something to receive what you're saying rather than necessarily what they are saying back. So like the benefit of talking to someone else is often just from the fact of you speaking to a receiver. So like that works the same for a pet. Like he even said this: if you don't have someone to recite to a pet. And if you don't have that,
I mean, I process out loud, and so it helps me to have that. But when there's not a receiver around, I can still do the same thing in my head.
And
like, there's not much difference between me processing in my head or me processing to a cat. Where a difference does come in is where I'm processing to another person or even to an AI, because then there's a little bit of feedback coming back.
Yeah,
that can modify the processing.
Of course. Although
I can try praying to my plant. I wouldn't even know where to start. I can say maybe a Hail Mary or an Our Father if I can remember them.
If you go for the plant, you gotta play to Frey and Freya.
That feels less personal though, like to say a Hail Mary to a plant instead of just have a conversation with it.
It does, but like instead bring in a third party. Oh, god of fertility, Frey or Freyr. Freyr, that's his name. Oh, god of fertility.
Hey, I have this. In fact, hang on, I'll show it to you. One sec. You're gonna like it. It's a Norwegian board game, or Norwegian themed anyway. And you play one of the gods, and Frey and Freya are two of the gods called Yggdrasil. And it's a co-op. You're trying to prevent Ragnarok together. And you each take on one of the gods.
Impossible to prevent Ragnarok. Norse mythology is fatalistic. There's no free will. Heimdall.
Tyr, Thor.
Tyr is an awesome god. Tyr is an awesome god.
Freya.
Frey.
And they each have different powers to affect the game. And then you're fighting the 6 monsters like Loki, Hel, Surt, Nidhogg, Jormungandr, and Fenrir the wolf.
Jormungandr. That's how you pronounce it.
Jormungandr. And then you have the Valkyries, and it's really cool.
Yeah. You want to know one of my favorite Norse myths is how Tyr became one-armed. And yes, that was a really funny one. But you want to know how Tyr lost his arm.
No,
So
I didn't even know he
Loki-
did.
Oh, bring out
Oh,
the
it has
face
to be
again.
Loki.
Didn't it show the him
I don't know.
without an
Maybe I
arm?
didn't pay attention. Let me take a closer look
Because
at
he
Tyr.
is canonically one-armed. At least he's supposed to be.
Freya looks trans. Freya looks. Some of these look gender ambiguous. He didn't. His hand. Look, his hand. His arm is there, but his hand is gone. I never even noticed. I've played this game so many times. Didn't even notice the dude didn't have a hand.
Yeah. So the story is Loki has a son, and that son is Fenrir, and a tiny
Wolf.
little wolf cub. And Odin has sort of prophecy that this wolf will just grow stronger and stronger until nobody can challenge it. And so he devises a plan, and we need some way to prevent him from being able to overpower all the gods before it's too late. And so they convince Loki to convince his son Fenrir to get into these chains as a trick. It's like, oh yeah, see how, get into these chains and pull them up. You're so strong. And
Wait,
he does
that fooled Loki? Loki was fooled by that?
No, Loki is part of it. Loki is a very ambivalent figure. He can work against the children and with them flickering.
They put Loki in the chains though?
No. So what they did is they would show the chains and like bring Fenrir in, and then the gods would take turns putting themselves in and breaking out and whatever and having fun, and then like, oh Fenrir, it's your turn. And so Fenrir says, I know I'm powerful, and I know you are threatened by me. I need assurance. So before I get into these chains, someone needs to show that this is truthful. And so I demand someone holds their arm inside my mouth. And so if you're tricking me, I bite down. And none of the gods wants to comply to this because they all know that the chains are magical and are going to contain Fenrir. But Tyr, he is an honorable, brave warrior. And so he knows this must be done. And so he goes up and so, yes, sir, here's my arm. I can put it in your mouth. And so he holds it there. They strap Fenrir up. And then Fenrir pulls and pulls and pulls. And when he realizes that he cannot get out and that he is betrayed, he bites down. And that's how Tyr is without.
Okay, is Tyr stupid? Why did he offer to do that? And why didn't he pull the arm out while Fenrir is testing the chains? He had time.
He is the god of the honorable warrior. He made an oath that he's going to keep it. And if they're tricking him, he's going to lose an arm. And he knows they tricked him. And so he knows
right, so he volunteered to lose an arm.
Yeah, but that's the only way to get into... Like, if he pulled out...
I feel like they could have come up with other ways than losing
maybe,
an arm.
but this is a moral lesson of holding your oaths. Yeah. Norse society was very
Plus it's Norwegian, you're weird anyway.
And he was one of the most important gods because he was sort of the warrior. Thor and Tyr are two sides of the warrior. One is like the disciplined, cold, honorable one, and the other is the frenzied, alcoholist, insane, mad, raving berserker.
Thor.
Thor is the berserker. Tyr is the disciplined warrior.
Oh, okay.
And so it sort of shows that society needs both. And like
the drunken soldier and the one that can actually fight but lose an arm in the process.
Okay. Thor can fight. Thor is probably the strongest god. He lifted the earth serpent and he wrestled with old age itself and he drank the oceans. Thor can fight. He is strong. But so is Tyr. So is all the gods. But no, the Ragnarok has to happen. Odin knows this, but at the same time, he is a sinful man. He has faults. He knows that the universe has no free will. He knows that everything is set in stone. He knows the future will happen. And yes, the Norse society was fatalist. That's what Norse society believed. Norse society was fatalistic. Their gods were fatalistic. Things are set in stone. Your destiny is already written at birth. And the only thing you can do is just enjoy it. It's sort of very Nietzschean and sort of amor fati. You just have to love your faith.
Well, I thought
Everything
Nietzsche
is
was all about will to power. What do you believe that?
no, I don't. Odin, no, Odin was a. You could actually say Odin was a Calvinist. He believed in predestination. Like, a certain few are gonna survive into the next world and repopulate the new Earth, which is what happens after Ragnarok. The slain god Balder rises from hell to create a new world, and only two surviving humans. And this is where we have to remember that all our sources for Norse mythology, at least written sources, are made by Christian monks, and especially by Snorre Sturluson, who was a Christian monk who wanted to use this for political purposes. So the idea that after the end of the world, after Ragnarok, the slain savior god Balder, who is the god of light, innocence, purity, he
Like Baldur's
rises.
Gate.
Yeah, he rises from hell to create the new virgin Earth and repopulate it with two humans. That's very similar to the story of Genesis. That's sort of the whole purpose, is that, oh yeah, you're all gods. Yeah, Ragnarok happened. They're dead now. And now, what do you call Balder? That's actually just Jesus. The new Christianity is a new thing. The old gods are dead. But I
So
like the idea.
Ragnarok is not the final end.
Yeah, I think in original Norse mythology, it probably was the end,
But then they
or at
needed
least
a reboot.
the end that restarted the eternal cycle. But in Norse mythology, as we have it, so meaning recorded by the monks, it ends with the remaking of a new world by a pure, innocent, loving God and two humans. So, like,
that doesn't sound very Viking at all.
yeah, and the story of Balder is, well, okay, the Vikings, again, the Vikings are unique. They're a special people. There's a lot of sides to them, but yeah, no, the sort of savior side, they would. Yeah, I'm reminded of a funny anecdote of what was his name? I think it was Charles Martel, king of the Franks, who, when a priest recounted the story of the crucifixion, him and his Franks began to cry and wailed, and he said resolutely that if me and my boys were there, we would have never let it happen. We would have killed all the Romans who did this. It's like that's sort of the whole. They're very willing to cry and weep and be sad and and sort of have guilt and whatever, but they're also like, the solution isn't to accept this, it's to fix it, it's to kill the perpetrators, it's to take vengeance. Like, vengeance was a virtue in our society.
Yeah,
Murder
the
is a
FAFO.
virtue.
Like, you got to teach people.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I think that's what
And
we're doing right now in the Middle East.
exactly. And so, like, you can just challenge someone to holmgang, which is a honor duel, which I will say, and this is controversial, but Norse Vikings were more civilized than today's Muslims, because today's Muslims do honor killings where you just go and kill someone in the streets for honor. Vikings at least had a system that, hey, you there, you have broken my honor and broken your oath. I challenge you to holmgang. And he could say no, but that would, of course, socially ostracize him, but he could say no. And if he said yes, it was just him. And after that, the family feud would be over. Like, one
But
duel
does it
would
end in death?
It often, but not always. Like, you
Oh.
could make the case that, oh, first blood, but it usually ends in death, because when people are willing to go to holmgang, to a honor duel, that's usually because the grievances are so big, only blood can relieve them. And
No, I don't. I think resorting to violence is uncivilized, primitive, lazy. And we were talking about that a while back on this channel. Of like, men should be allowed to go fight each other, like Fight Club, and kick each other's ass and challenge each other to those kind of duels and get their aggression out. And I'm thinking in a civilized society, dialogue is supposed to replace all of that. So if you're at the point where violence is the only solution, I'm skeptical that you've exhausted all of the other possibilities that civilization provides before resorting to violence. I think that's just like our base instinct
Of course.
emerging.
But that was a formalization of it. So it was sort of making it safe for society while still satiating the bloodlust. So like families wouldn't just go murdering each other in the streets. They would have a formalized system on how to have their vengeance, at least on a small level. Like if you're a
So are you
big enough
saying
family.
like dialogue might solve the problem, but it won't satiate the bloodlust? And until
No,
you
no, no. I'm
do
saying
something about
dialogue
that
can.
instinct, it's not fully resolved.
I'm saying dialogue can work as well. I'm just saying that in that primitive society, that was an invention they had to limit the cost
But
of
even in modern
human suffering.
society, even though dialogue may work, there's still a preference for this other way of doing it. There's a lot of people would still prefer to do it this other way. Like, fuck dialogue. I want to kick somebody's ass.
Well, the kings of the Middle Ages knew the solution. Just have the king execute the criminals. It's that easy. You have a court of law, they find out who's guilty, and you punish the guilty. Now the burden of punishment is on the state, thus removed from general society. And if the people actually know that the state is doling out justice, then they feel relieved. Like they don't like
Yeah.
people
I like that a
don't.
lot better than people taking it into their own hands.
Yeah, but like that's how that's the sort of evolution, is that the standardization of the honor killings goes from being something, a cultural phenomenon, to being something that's state sanctioned, to being optional to solving guilt, because now trials are a thing, and now trials are the mandatory way of solving it. So like that's a sort of transitional way out move from basic tribal society into court of laws.
Right. I think
Justice.
that's my point is the further you get away from violence, the more advanced you are civilizationally.
Yes.
And if you are resorting to are considering or advocating violence as a solution, you're kind of sliding backwards from the level of civilization that we've currently achieved. So it's an indication of a reversion to
Yes.
primitivism.
But the very important thing is that this only works if the state is actually doling out justice. If it's not doing that, then there's no reason
Well,
psychologically
who
for
determines if it's doing that or not? The
the
individual
people.
citizen?
But for the most part of history, for the past 800 years, most people, they find that the state is fulfilling its duty of justice. But when it stops doing that, and when people stops thinking like that it does that, then the acceptance.
People are always going to think that it's. They thought that about O.J. Simpson. They think that about Epstein. You can always make the case that the state has suddenly stopped
Yeah,
fulfilling
but
its function of.
it's a significant drop off from like what it was the past 800 years to what it's been the past 150. It has been a decline, and for various reasons. But the consequence of that is that if people don't feel like justice has been done, they will take it into their own hands. And I don't.
Right, but I'm saying I think they will justify that to themselves without the state actually failing to deliver justice. They will still make the case for taking into our justice is too slow. The state may deliver justice, but not speedily enough for their satisfaction.
Yes, but like take for example the guy who killed Elena or whatever she's called. The girl at the subway, the Ukrainian girl who was stabbed through the heart. Like that guy had been in prison and been arrested over like 40 times. The fact that he was still out of the streets, that
How
is
does someone end up 40 times on the street, like let out?
Career criminals.
40 times.
And like he is like the more this happens, the sooner you get back to lynchings and private citizens taking justice into their own hands. If the state is allowing career criminals who have who have done so many criminal acts that they can fill a whole book of it. Like, if those are on the streets, people will eventually take justice into their own hands. Like, we already see it in small measures. Like in Spain, you're not allowed to evict someone from a house if it's an illegal migrant. And so there's now private paramilitaries in Spain that goes around helping people evict them. And they're taking on the liabilities and taking the state to court if they're objected to. So, like, that's because the state no longer helps in evicting squatters or whatever. And
how
the
did it
more,
get to that point?
because without getting too into politics, there is Solzhenitsyn talked about this, how to the totalitarian state, to the state that desires more power, the petty criminal is not that dangerous because he can justify more power. It's the other criminals, the thought leaders or the people thinking wrong, those are the real dangers because they can actually challenge the state. Petty criminals, the only thing they do is strengthen the state because the people rally behind more and more power in the same states. Like, it's in the benefit of a lot of political movements for civil society and justice to be weakened because that justifies more and more power. Like, just look at 9/11. I'm not saying it was a setup, but I'm saying that the result of that, the result of a terrorist attack, is that the people are accepting of more surveillance that they otherwise wouldn't be. And so in every field, like, for example, now you have to scan a passport, or not a passport, like scan a pass to get into certain schools in Norway due to the crime. Or we used to have very liberal gun laws. Now we don't have that because of increased
How
crime.
does that pass work? What does that stop? Like, it just...
It means that only actual students can get in.
But I thought part of the problem is the students were some of the, at least here in the US, the students are the ones that are doing the violence.
They are. But the government will do everything it can to not mention that criminality is caused by one group and one group alone. And
well, that's what I was about to say, because we looked up the stats the other day on here, and it's a very small percent are responsible for, like, it's like 5% responsible for 2/3 of the crime, the violent crime.
Yeah. And fun fact, who would have thought? The Middle Ages, they kind of had this solved. On average, in medieval Europe, roughly 2% of every generation were executed by the state. That's it. That's what they did. And so when you
did they have less crime?
Yes. And you can see a lowering of crime. And even like the reason that Europe is so safe, or was so safe until very recently, is because we have the 1,000-year-long program of killing the 2% most criminal in the continent. Like that, there's a correlation. If we accept that there's a correlation between genetics and criminality, which there is, and you now remove the 2% most criminal people every single generation for 1,000 years, then by the end of it, you emerge with a population that is significantly reduced the predisposition to criminality.
But I believe everybody is capable of violence, so it can't just be like we all have that genetic
proclivity.
So why are some more predisposed to act on that?
Well, genetics. Some have lower impulse control. Some have lower ability to think about consequences. And of course, some just don't
can't
care.
put myself in that mindset of what it's like to just
because that's
be violent and then think about the consequences after.
It is a legitimate issue. Like the Russians, the communists, they had a massive issue with Central Asia because, they're egalitarians, everyone's equal. And then they come to Central Asia and like, oh shit, these people literally can't plan ahead. Like when you ask them, oh, what are you going to eat for breakfast tomorrow? I don't know. Like, what do you mean tomorrow? Today is today. And like, even if you said, oh, but hypothetically, don't like, not as a moral lesson. Like, no, but like, you could hypothetically plan out your breakfast tomorrow. There's nothing cognitively stopping you from that. Or, for example, about hypothetical, like, oh, imagine that you ate a hamburger for breakfast. How would you feel? And they would always answer like, "But I didn't eat the hamburger." They just couldn't internalize an abstract or a hypothetical. And the Soviets found that, unless, like, if you are an adult and you still have that level, there's nothing we can do to fix that. The only way to fix that is to culturally, educate you from childhood. Like, I don't know the exact age, but it was an age where if you're older, no amount of effort can really make it natural for you to think abstractly. But if you're younger, you can do that. And so even like the communist egalitarians had to accept, you know what, we aren't all alike, because there's maybe we could they basically had to redefine from, okay, if everyone was educated the same, we'd be all alike. But since we aren't, then it's all different. And that stuff. It's I don't remember. I don't actually know why I mentioned this story. I forgot the context, but
I don't know. We were talking
Yeah.
about violence, and this is nature nurture, and there's no final ruling on it, and I think it varies from individual case to individual case.
Yeah, like
So
some traits
from
are
person
more
to person, you're going to have different ratio of influence of one to the other.
And also between traits, like IQ is like decently middle ground, a bit of both. Height is more genetic leaning. Personality is more environment leaning. Like almost
You think so?
everything. We have data on this. There's like
what is temper? I'm just thinking of all the babies and toddlers I've watched. They all have their own personality even before they have much environmental influence.
Well, of course, because genetics.
So I don't think we're blank slates that come in devoid of personality.
That's not what I said either. But when you're comparing, like, height is something like 80% genetic, whilst personality is maybe only 20 to 30% genetic. And then you get a huge reinforcement from growing up in the same family and whatever. So like some traits are more genetic than others, but there's almost no traits that are only one. So like there's
like height. You think I would think it would be even more than 80%, and like eye color and all of our physical traits. You think some of that's environmental?
Height is also influenced by health. So like how protein heavy was your diet as a child? It's like those are environmental factors, and they can vary a lot. And eye color as well is very genetic, but it can be changed. So like,
what about sex? I mean, if you're born with one sex, the environment's probably not going to change it much.
No, it isn't. And you can be changed to the extent that you can be a sort of mutational aberration, but like that's not within the same bound. That's like saying,
that's still genetic.
Yeah. And although there are some impacts, like for example, the amount of progesterone in the womb as you gestate, that has an impact on your personality and your tendencies. So like higher progesterone leads to more girly girl.
There's a theory to that that it influences things like autism and neurodivergence as well. That some of that can be a response to what's going on in the womb more than the genetics is, like the epigenetics.
Although I would caution a one solution thing to autism. To me,
I would
seems
too.
Like there's
the one thing that seems certain is it like whatever it is, it's fully in there by the time the baby comes out.
Yeah, I mean, you could probably make the case that if someone got a head injury later in life that impacted exact areas that are weaker in autistic people, and it strengthened areas that are stronger in them, like that they could be a sort of facsimile autist. But that's like, that's not really a useful addition.
I agree.
But yeah, no, autists definitely have multiple sources. I think there's some people who just are that genetically. There's definitely some who are that from birth.
And
there's
part of it is our own categorization system, because I think humans have always been that. We just didn't always classify it in the way we model humanity.
Though I do think it's important that even when you consider that, it does seem there has been a decent increase.
Part of it is, I think, just it's a diagnostic increase.
Yeah, that's part of it.
But then you have the Silicon Valley phenomenon of all the spurgs in Silicon Valley. When you go through the second or third generation, there's a much higher rate of autism in their children than in the normal population.
Yeah, I mean that is. It probably has something to do with that the traits that code for high intelligence also are related to autistic traits. And so when you combine two people of high IQ, some of those genes can mix in a way that that gives sort of autistic phenotypes. And like you see the same thing with, for example, schizophrenia. That schizophrenia and autism are somewhat related. Like if you're autistic, you have a higher chance than average of having schizophrenia, and vice versa. So like two schizophrenic parents can have an autistic child, and two autistic parents can have a schizophrenic child at a much higher rate than the rest of the population. Like still low, of course. Like I'm not saying it's common, but like there seems to be, at least from the genetic source of autism, so like probably one of the few sources is related to the genetic source of schizophrenia. And so there's a lot of stuff we don't know, but there's a lot of sort of relations and secrets.
And then you have stuff like Down syndrome. That's definitely not environmental.
Yeah, but well, that's just
that's at the chromosomal level.
Yeah, it's just a splitting fault in the early embryo. I think that's what it is, where it splits wrong, doesn't carry all the chromosomes.
Well, it splits like abnormally. I wouldn't say wrong.
Yeah. Well,
that seems to be moralizing it to me.
Yeah, but if we accept that the basal human form is correct, then an aberration from that.
I don't necessarily. I think it's just a variation. I don't think there's a value. I don't think it carries any kind of value beyond that, other than what we ascribe to it. But in nature, it's just one variation. I don't think one is good and correct and the other is bad and incorrect.
I think one is better. I think it's better if our society is healthy and
right, but that's a value judgment that you as a human is placing on it. But objectively, biologically, there's no correct or incorrect. There's just maybe a standard and then a deviation from the standard.
If it's a result from just recombining genes, then I would agree. But if it's a result of a failed normal cellular action, then it's not an intended outcome by biology.
Intended by, but that's what I'm saying. Nature and biology doesn't have an intent.
The intent is properly. The intent of a
it's just a mechanistic process. There's no intent to it.
Okay, yeah, I get what you mean, but I think you can use both languages and it works fine.
Well, I guess it depends on what you try to communicate. I'm trying to be very precise. And sometimes the process goes one way, sometimes it goes another way, is as much as I can extract from it.
Yeah. Although, what do you think about Iceland having, I think it's basically 100% abortion rate for Down syndrome embryos and fetuses?
I didn't know anything about this. Is that by law or?
No. They were a very early sort of screener fetus screen. They early developed technology for screening fetuses for genetic aberrations, and so they're aborting all the Down syndrome kids.
So there are no Down syndrome Icelanders?
There probably still are some, but they're much
almost
lower.
All diagnosed Down syndrome pregnancies. Upwards of 80% of women elect to have prenatal testing, and close to 100%, if they're diagnosed with Down syndrome, close to 100% are terminated. But is that like at the wishes of the parent or the law mandates?
No, wishes of the parent. They elected to do that.
So like 100% of the minute a parent finds out their child, they choose to terminate it.
Yeah.
Wow, no, I did not know that. How did Bjork come out like she is?
Would you do it?
No. Oh my
You
God,
would?
no. I don't even want to kill the deer or the
I would
elk.
definitely do it. I mean, I am.
You would terminate a Down syndrome kid because it's just one step from that to an autistic kid or a gay kid or trans kid.
I would accept my kid as they are, but if I have a choice between having a normal kid or not, of course I'd have a normal kid. I want the kid that's like me.
Versus not having any kid at all.
Well, like, we can have another kid. Sorry, man. I'm not a Christian. I'm a bit far removed from the Christian
I'm not Christian either. In fact, I was a Satanist, but still.
I know you were, but
no, I don't think I would terminate any kid. The only way I would terminate a kid, first of all, I wouldn't do it. It would be whatever female that I would never be having a kid with to begin with. Is complication, like life-threatening complications of the pregnancy. Like she could make that decision of her life or the baby's. But just for some kind of genetic abnormality, there's no way I would terminate.
I think that is one of
I would give any kid a chance at life.
You know, I am not for completely free abortion. I don't, at least not in the later parts. I don't think you should just end a kid without reason. But I do think like threats to the baby, or threat to the lady, or things like serious genetic abnormalities, that should be allowed. That should be.
I think, was it Britain? There was some country or maybe a state, I think it was a country that just passed abortions to birth law.
Yeah, that is evil, quite frankly.
I don't want to spread misinformation, so don't take my details.
No. But
I did see a headline that there's some place out there somewhere that just passed a law allowing abortions up to birth.
Abortion liberalization has gone way too far. It really has. But I do still think that the parents are taking on a burden with their child, and I think they should have the knowledge and choice that, this child is gonna be a burden for their life. This child is not gonna be like a normal child. It's gonna be
still that's still a probabilistic. It's not. You don't know that 100% for a fact. So I think a child deserves the chance to roll that dice.
I think that.
Yeah, I think it is. Okay, I correct. It's a UK proposal. It's an amendment that's being proposed. I don't think it's fully passed, but they are trying to push through an amendment to legalize abortion up to birth. Or to decriminalize, not legalize, decriminalize.
Yeah. Which is evil, that it's too soon to the birth. I don't know exactly when I would put the limit, but certainly not close to birth. But I think it is a general societal good, and I also think that the vast majority of parents would have a better life, and their families would have a better time if they made that choice.
I don't know. Remember, I dated somebody that wanted to have all poor people sterilized because he thought it was immoral to bring a kid into this world if you were poor and couldn't give them a thriving upper middle class life.
Yeah,
so I'm very touchy about putting that in the hands of the parents instead of nature itself.
But isn't that nature?
It's not laws. You can Google it yourself.
If you put it in nature, you'll just at some point return to the sort of Roman way of just, putting me out in the wilderness to die if you don't want the kid.
No, I'm not for that either. I think if you get pregnant, have the kid and raise the kid. Nobody's in control of how their kids come out. I'm sure my parents would love to have traded me in if they could, if knowing how it would turn out, but I'm so glad that they didn't.
Of course. And all life that is already living should be cherished, but at the same time, I don't know, it shouldn't be cherished so much that you will chain a family's life forever for a life
It's only
that
a chain if that's
barely
the way the
existing.
family wants to experience. It doesn't have to be a chain.
They have the choice. I'm not saying that the state should go in to sterilize, but I'm saying that there should be screening, and I do think that, yeah.
Well, I mean, I guess in Iceland it's already happening. So
Yeah. But anyways, I need to go now. I need to get ready and get going.
oh
because I need
right,
to
you're on
catch
the
a train.
train. Oh, you're catching. Okay, I thought you were on. Okay, yes, definitely enjoy your vacation. And if we don't see you for a
I'm
while,
not on the train, bro. I can't be speaking these topics on the train.
well, that would be so cool if you were streaming us from the train. But yeah, definitely have a good break. Have a good vacation. Enjoy your Easter.
Yeah, thank you, and see ya.
See ya. Take care. All right. Well, I think after all that, speaking of Odin and Thor and Tyr and Freya and Frey, Moose just has a new video called Sleepwalking Giants. I think we're going to take a look at while I go get a refill. And then if there's need for a panel, I'll keep it going. Otherwise, I can wrap it up. But I want to at least get his new video out there. So hang on. Let me do this. This is the new one from Moose, Sleepwalking Giants. Sorry, Sleepwalking Giants. And I will be back. I'm going to drop while it plays, and then I will come back. Okay, enjoy. From our artist, Moose. His channel is A Million Sparks. I'll drop it in the chat, and I'll be back, folks.
You ever feel like something's off, but nobody's saying it? Nobody's saying it! Wake up, scroll, same routine, living life through a glowing screen. Eyes half open, but the mind's on mute. Feed full of noise, but it hides the truth. They keep you busy, keep you numb. Sell you comfort just to keep you dumb. Every distraction, another chain. Dressed up nice so you don't feel pain. You got power, but you never use it. Trade your focus just to feel included. Time gets spent, but it don't come back. You're running fast on a broken track. They don't need force if you won't resist. You self-regulate with the things you binge. Freedom's there, but it's out of reach when you're too distracted to even say. You feel it deep, but you brush it off. That quiet voice saying something's wrong. We're sleepwalking giants, stuck in a train. Chains on our minds, but we think we're free. Power inside, but we never ignite. Living in dark when we build for light. We're sleepwalking giants, eyes wide shut. That's just enough so we don't wake up. All that we are, we forgot to be. Kings in a cage with invisible keys. Yeah, I've been there, I know that state. Drifting through life like it's all fate. Blaming the world, playing it safe. Want my own habits, dug my grave. You want change, but you won't commit. Say you're stuck, but you sit in it. Truth hits hard, but it cuts both ways. They built the system, but you stayed. Every hour that you waste in comfort is another brick in your own enclosure. You don't see it, cause it feels like peace. But comfort's the cage that don't need keys. You're not awake, you're just a slave. Dreaming small when you're built for peace. Every doubt that you let reside keeps the giant locked inside. Feel that pulse. That ain't fear, that's you waking up. Break the loop, break the cycle. You don't need permission. Woo! We're sleepwalking giants, stuck in a train. Chains on our minds, but we think we're free. Power inside, but we never ignite. Living in dark when we build for life. We're sleepwalking giants, rise from the deep. Shatter the patterns that that heat. You already got the key. Nobody's coming to wake you up. That part's on you.
Alrighty, that is Moose's new one, Sleepwalking Giants. All right, that might do it for our show today, unless anybody else wants to come. But I still have the coffee going through me, so if not, I will be out tomorrow, 3 p.m. Eastern, noon Pacific. We're going to talk about liberal pluralism, what that is, and how to create spaces that foster and support liberal pluralism and liberal pluralistic communities. So catch us then, spread the word. I can't rely on the algorithm anymore, so I need to turn to my humans and ask them to help me grow this channel. I think we have a lot to offer here, so I sure appreciate it. Okay, well, thanks for hanging out tonight. It was fun, and I will see you tomorrow, 3 p.m. If you're on the East Coast, noon. If you're over here on the West Coast with me. Good night, RW. Good to see you. Thanks for hanging out. All right, let me find something to end with. Why don't we do this? It's been this kind of night. Toodles, not lost. Good seeing you. Seriously. All right, take care, everybody. Thanks for watching.